In a small town in Alabama, a white U.S. Army veteran, James Jim Carter, returns home after serving overseas. He is a decorated soldier, a man of honor, and a father of two. But when he defends his black neighbors, the Johnsons, from racial harassment, his lifelong white friends and neighbors turn against him. However, when the truth about his military past is revealed, their hate turns to shame, and for the first time, they cry not out of anger, but out of regret the story the Carter family had lived in Pine Brook, Alabama, for generations. It was a quiet town, deeply rooted in old traditions, some good, some ugly. Jim Carter had grown up here, played baseball with the kids next door, and gone to church every Sunday. When he turned 18, he enlisted in the U.S. Army, leaving behind the small-town life in search of something greater after 15 years of service, tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and a chest full of medals. He came back home, hoping for peace. But he soon found that not everything had changed. The Johnsons, a black family who had moved in while Jim was away, were constantly harassed by certain neighbors. Vandalized property, slurs muttered under breath, and cold stares at the grocery store. It was the same old hate, wrapped in polite Southern hospitality. Jim didn't like it one evening. As he mowed his lawn, he saw a group of men standing near the Johnsons' house. They had spray paint, and one of them was laughing as he scrawled something on the garage door. GOBCKWHERE. YOUCAMEFROM. Jim turned off his mower, walked across the road, and stood between the men and the Johnsons' home. "That's enough," he said, his voice like gravel. The men turned. One of them, Bob Jenkins, a man Jim had known since childhood, sneered. "Come on, Jim. Just a little fun. You know how it is." Jim's jaw tightened. "I know exactly how it is. And it stops now." Bob scoffed. "What? You siding with them over your own people?" Jim took a deep breath. "My people? You talking about Americans? Because last I checked, the Johnsons are just as American as you and me." The men laughed, but it was nervous now. They had never been challenged like this before. Then Bob spat. "You think you're better than us, Carter? Just 'cause you went off to play soldier?" Jim didn't respond. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. He flipped it open, revealing a badge. Not just any badge. A Medal of Honor identification badge. The highest military award in the country. The men's faces drained of color. Their mouths opened, but no words came. "You see this?" Jim said, his voice steady but low. "This ain't just metal. It's blood. It's sacrifice. And I didn't earn it fighting for just one kind of American. I fought for all of us." Bob's eyes welled up. He looked at the badge, then at Jim, then at the racist words on the Johnsons' garage. And for the first time in his life, he felt something he had never felt before: shame. Tears welled in his eyes, and he stepped back. The others followed. One by one, they turned away, their heads lowered, their hearts heavy. Jim watched them go, then turned to the Johnsons' house. Mr. Johnson stood at the door, his wife beside him. "Their children peeking from behind. You didn't have to do that," Mr. Johnson said. "Yeah, I did," Jim replied then, without another word. He grabbed a rag and started wiping the hate off their home. And for the first time in Pine Brook's history, someone else joined him, Bob, and then, one by one, so did the others, because sometimes redemption starts with a single tear. The end would you, like me, to refine or expand on any part of the story.